Welcome back to your hour. Joining me now is Jamie Whitfield, who is my assistant. And she wants to share a lot of her experiences because she's a recovering addict. And, you know, that's such a terrible label to give somebody, but it's true.
Yes.
And you're very open and very honest about your experiences, and you want other people to benefit from your experiences because you know what it's like.
Yes. Yes, indeed.
Last week when we were talking, you used an expression, a word, delivered. You said you were delivered.
Yes.
And I like that. I like that a lot. Can you expand on that?
Yes. Well, I had just been, I don't know, like, I just been kind of studying and thinking about recovery, the terms and definitions of recovery and recovered and recovery, and delivered. And so, basically the definition of recover is to bring back to normal position or condition. And to be in recovery is the process, is still the process of combating a disorder or a real or perceived problem.
Right.
And to be recovered is to return to a normal state of health, mind, and strength. And to be delivered is to have been given what is needed or desired. And I just believe, like, where I'm at in my, as far as my process of my addiction, I feel like I am delivered. And it is okay to use that terms because I'm just using it for myself. I'm not trying to give, somebody something that, they're not agreeing upon what I'm saying. But for me, I feel like I'm delivered because I am mentally, I'm at that state of mind where what where I want and what I've been looking for and desire. And for, me to break down the definitions of recovery, recovered, recovered, I believe we can be recovered. And I believe, though, that with that being said, that it still requires to have the support system and the fellowship of NA and AA, the meetings and things, and your sponsorship.
Yeah, you still, even once you've recovered, you still need to be mindful of the pitfalls and try and do your
Right.
best to avoid them.
Yes, because I feel like you could still fall, back into the process of trying to find that normal state. And that would be recovery, but I believe that I have been delivered. And I love that terminology,
I do
that
too.
word for myself, because it just, when I say I'm Jamie and I'm delivered, like, it might not mean anything to anyone else, but it means a lot to me because the meanings of these words is what I'm feeling about myself and where I'm at in my addiction, and my recovery. So,
Well, and the thing I've noticed about you, it impresses me all the time, is, you've had some stressful times and some stressful days.
yes.
And you talk about it.
Yes.
You talk about it, you express it. You even talk about, this day made me want to go use, but I didn't because I'm proud of what I'm doing.
Right.
But you talk to you don't just talk to me and to your support system. You talk to yourself.
Yes, I do.
You do.
Yes.
And you give yourself really good advice.
Yes.
And then you follow it.
Yeah, because it's one thing to say something and not listen to yourself, but it's another to follow through with that thought process, And like I said before, I try to look at everything that I do in my life out the windshield and not the rearview mirrors, because that rearview mirror stuff, that will give you that instant gratification, and in the long run, when you're looking out the windshield, you're gonna be like, dang, why did I do that?
Yeah.
And so I just believe, and that's what the program has given to me, as far as being, in the NA and AA fellowship. It has given me that new way of living in life and that new thought process. It's given me them tools that I can actually just think things through all the way, and talk to myself, because when it comes down to it, at the end of the day, all you have is yourself. And you have them choices, and you have to tell yourself different things to continue on and carry on. And for me, I love my life now that I have been delivered from my addiction, and that desires have subsided, the thoughts of wanting to use. I'm not saying that sometimes I don't have a thought like that here and there, but it has subsided tremendously.
Yeah.
And so, and just being able to think a little clearer, that, that I don't just go running to drugs when something isn't right, like I could have a flat tire. Oh, I'm going to use today. You know what I mean? And so, that's not realistic. Okay, I have a flat tire. Okay, let's get it fixed, and let's carry on with our day.
Yeah.
It's like a pebble in the road instead of a big mountain. And so that's just kind of where I'm at with my thinking.
And it is a lot about it. A lot about what you're doing is perception.
Yes.
Because whereas in the throes of your addiction, you would take any excuse in the world. You
Yes.
didn't even have to have an excuse
No.
to use.
Yes.
But now, there little things pop up here and there, and you go, okay, all right, that's another challenge. We'll just meet it head on and move on. And the idea of using now is so abhorrent to you, because you know what it does to you. You
Yes.
know how it really screws up your life. It screws up your relationships.
Yes.
It screws up your freedom.
Yes, very much so.
And those are not things that you desire to have happen anymore.
No, not at all. And really, with addiction, and in our readings in the NA program, it tells you there's only 3 end results of going back out there using, and that's jail, institutions, or death. And none of all them 3 options are not on the top of my list.
That's right.
So I just prefer to, instead of, running to drugs or even thinking about it, like, sometimes I'm like, that's just so absurd to think about, using, instead of just tackling these problems like everyone else does, and so, I don't know, it's just, I feel like that I am delivered, because I have the desired outcome of what I wanted, and that is just to have that normal state of mind and health again. And that's what I believe I am, as I speak now.
And you utilize the tools that have been presented to you. For instance, the meetings.
Yes.
Even if you can't go to the in-person meetings, you can go to the meetings on
Zoom.
Zoom, and they're just as effective.
Yes, indeed. And actually, I feel like they're a little bit more easy accessible. They're accessible to you because they're at your fingertips.
Yeah.
And there's
You don't have to drive anywhere.
No, and you don't have to worry about the transportation means or what time. They have meetings online that go 24 hours a day.
Yeah.
Just a marathon of meetings, and you can just click on there anytime you have that need or just want to. So it does make it a lot easier to join the fellowship with the means of technology now, with the Zoom and whatnot.
And these meetings are not just speakers; they're interactive too. You can speak up and ask questions, or
Oh, yes, and
or
you can-
share experiences.
Oh, yes, and you still do service work by doing our readings in the beginning of the groups. It's all interaction, it's not just a speaker. We all speak, we all have a turn, we just raise our hand and they get to us.
And we're already out of time. Can you believe that?
So,
Thanks for joining us,
thank you
Jamie.
for having me.